Hello everyone, my name is Smurfy, and today I'm bringing you a Vengeance Demon Hunter tanking guide for the Legion pre-patch. I want to start by saying everything in this guide is accurate only for the pre-patch, and certain things will change at 110, and I will release a full guide at that time. What I'm going to cover today will be your ideal talents, stat priority, rotation, useful abilities and cooldowns, and just a quick summary of how this class stacks up against the other tanks at the moment. So let's get started. Talents. So we really only have 2 rows we can choose from right now, 6 total choices. Now in all situations, at level 99 you want to take Agonizing Flames. This increases your Immolation Aura damage by 50% and increases your move speed by 30%. This is an excellent talent because Immolation Aura is our main AoE ability, and having increased damage means more threat, and having more move speed really never hurts when you're standing somewhere you shouldn't be. The other 2 talents, Abyssal Strike and Razor Spikes, will be looked at again at 110, but as of now are far behind the Agonizing Flames in all situations. At 100 you have 2 choices depending on the situation. Feast of Souls adds a heal over time effect to our Soul Cleave ability, which makes it a good choice in all situations. However, Fallout is a good choice in AoE. This gives your Immolation Aura a chance to shatter soul fragments on its initial burst, so when using this talent, it's a good idea to position yourself near as many targets as you can when using Immolation Aura. I like to use Feast of Souls in all situations just based on personal preference, because I feel like it smooths out one of our biggest flaws as a tank, that being the spikiness of our health pool when tanking. Moving on, stat priority. There's been an ongoing discussion between some of the more prominent theory crafters in WoW about the Vengeance stat priority. Right now the consensus is that there are 2 separate priorities based on what our needs are. You can go for a more survival based build or a more DPS based build. This really depends on how you feel you're doing as a tank. So if you feel like you're dying far too often, or you feel so squishy you ask someone else to tank in your place, I'd recommend the survivability build. Here's what both builds look like. Your survivability build prioritizes haste and mastery mostly. This is due to haste lowering the cooldown mainly on your Demon Spikes ability. Demon Spikes is our active mitigation, and having that up as often as possible will help tremendously with survivability. Mastery also reduces the physical damage you take with Demon Spikes active, so pairing these two stats together obviously will help your survivability a ton. Behind that, versatility helps with your self-healing and adds some DPS, so it'll be better to prioritize that over crit. On to the DPS build. So if you feel like you really don't take a whole lot of damage, or your healers are just awesome, you can go for something like this to really boost your DPS numbers and help down that boss just a little bit faster. Mastery and crit are very close in weights, so it really doesn't matter which one you have more of, but definitely prioritize those over anything else. You drop the necessity for haste with this build, seeing as you don't really need the cooldown on Demon Spikes to refresh as often, so having a flat DPS increase from versatility logically sounds more appealing. In Legion, both these priorities will change, so ensure that you're only using this information for the pre-patch. Whichever of these priorities you decide to go for doesn't change your playstyle, so as we move into talking about rotations, abilities, etc., please keep that in mind. Alrighty, since I already went over most of the basic stuff about Demon Hunters in my beginner's guide, I'm not going to spend too much time talking about abilities. A basic TLDW is that your resource is pain, it's generated from sheer Immolation Aura, consume magic, and taking damage, and it's spent on Demon Spikes and Soul Cleave. Now apart from that, you have defensive abilities and Empower Wards, which reduces magical damage taken by 30% for 6 seconds, Metamorphosis, which increases your health pool by 30% for 15 seconds and generates pain, Fiery Brand, which reduces the damage your target does to you by 40% for 8 seconds. You also have utility abilities in your 3 sigil abilities, Fire, Silence, and Misery. Fire will be used pretty much on cooldown as part of your rotation. The other 2 can be used situationally as tools to help you manage adds. So in any situation, single target or AoE, you're really only going to be pressing 4 damage dealing buttons along with any defensives when needed. A priority list looks something like this. Your first priority is to keep Demon Spikes up as often as possible. Note that this is your active mitigation ability, so in some situations when you need that, it may be best not to spam it on cooldown, but rather hold on to it until the ability you need to mitigate is coming. Your second priority is Immolation Aura. Keep this on cooldown to generate pain and deal damage. After that, keep Sigil of Flame on cooldown. Remember that it takes 2 seconds to activate, so place it wisely. Soul Cleave should be used in one or two scenarios. The first and foremost important situation is when you desperately need a heal. When this is the case, it pretty much takes first priority. But knowing that it can be cast with 30 to 60 pain and does more damage and healing with the more pain you use, if you're not in a life or death situation, you want to wait to use this until you have at least 60 pain. The other situation you want to prioritize Soul Cleave is when you're about to cap on pain. This is the most tricky decision to make though, and it really depends on the situation. If you're at a steady amount of HP and not about to take a large amount of damage, it's okay to just dump your pain into Soul Cleave. However, if you know you're about to take a massive hit, it's wise to hold on to your pain even after capping to get the largest possible heal right after taking the hit. Soul Cleave mastery is probably one of the more tricky things about playing a Vengeance Demon Hunter, and this kind of thinking will be hard to get used to at first. Anyways, finishing out the rotation is Shear, which you'll use when you need to generate pain or when you have nothing else to cast. Not included in the list, but something else to keep in mind would be Throw Glaive and Infernal Strike. You can use Throw Glaive when you're out of range of your target or to pick up additional adds, and Infernal Strike can be cast right where you're standing to add additional DPS, but you should always have one charge ready in case you need to quickly avoid standing somewhere you shouldn't. So with all the nitty gritty basic guide stuff out of the way, I just want to talk for a minute about the current state of things. So as of now, the general opinion is that Demon Hunters are ranked in the bottom half of the tanking classes. Now while that might not seem very appealing, it really shouldn't be something to worry about. The bottom line is that every class can be viable in any situation, and that's been made very clear through extensive testing in the beta. Demon Hunters are ranked somewhat low because our health pool is quote-unquote spiky. This particular word has been thrown around a lot to describe the class by most players. This basically means we take a lot of damage and are often below 50% health and can be a headache to healers if we don't manage our self-healing and mitigation properly. Those would be the weaknesses to this class. However, there are strengths this class has that other tanks don't. For one, our mobility is amazing. We have 2 charges of Infernal Strike just to get to wherever we need to be at any time. That's amazing. We have unique utility abilities in our sigils that can make awkward Huntard pulls less awkward. On top of that, the class is just straight up fun to play, honestly. I seriously can't stop playing this freaking class. It's a blast. Now obviously it'll take some time and effort to really master our utility and truly get the most out of our kit, but those that do so will end up, in my opinion, being some of the more successful tanks in Legion and definitely make Demon Hunters a more sought after class. In any case, I think I'm just rambling now, so I'm going to cut the video here. I hope this guide helps you out in getting started with tanking in the pre-patch, and as always, if you have any questions left unanswered, please feel free to leave a comment and I'll reply as soon as I can. If this guide helped you, I'd truly appreciate it if you leave a like and share it with a friend. Thanks for watching guys, and we'll see you next time.